Commander Lee Seung-min rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the computer screen. It was 3 in the morning at the Deep Space Communications Center in Seoul, and most of his team had gone home hours ago. The night shift was usually quiet, with only routine satellite checks and deep space monitoring. Tonight felt different. The alert sound made him jump. Red lights flashed across his control panel as data streamed in faster than he had ever seen. Lieutenant Park Ji-hai ran over from her station, her coffee cup still in her hand. "Sir, we have something big," she said, her voice shaking with excitement. "This signal is coming from outside our solar system, way outside." Seung-min leaned forward, watching the numbers scroll across his screen. The transmission was unlike anything in their database. It did not use radio waves like human technology. Instead, it seemed to slip through space itself, appearing on every receiver on Earth at exactly the same time. "Get Dr. Kim on the phone," Seung-min ordered. "Wake him up if you have to." Dr. Kim Tae-woo arrived at the facility within an hour, still wearing his pajamas under his lab coat. As the center's best language expert, he had spent years studying possible alien communications. Now he faced the real thing. "The mathematical patterns are beautiful," Kim said, running his fingers through his gray hair. "Look at these wave formations. They pulse like a heartbeat, but there are layers underneath. Complex layers." The signal had been detected by every major space facility on Earth. In Colorado, scientists worked through the night trying to decode it. In Australia, radio telescopes turned toward the source. In Russia, military experts studied the transmission for hidden threats. What none of them knew was that 65 million light-years away, beings of pure energy were celebrating. The Zephyrian Collective had finally found Earth. After months of searching through the galaxy, these beings had no physical bodies. They existed as patterns of light and thought, floating through space in crystalline structures that sparkled like diamonds. For thousands of years, they had traveled between stars, helping younger species grow and learn. Elder Luminous Thought of Dawn was the oldest among them, a being whose consciousness spanned centuries. He had watched many civilizations rise from primitive beginnings to join the galactic community. Earth fascinated him. Through their advanced scanning, the Zephyrians had observed humanity for several months. They saw cities full of pollution, countries fighting wars, and people struggling with hunger and disease. The energy beings felt deep sadness for these creatures trapped in physical bodies. "They suffer because they do not understand," Luminous Thought of Dawn explained to the collective. "Their consciousness is locked inside flesh and bone. They cannot see the beauty of pure thought." The Zephyrians believed they could help. Their first transmission was designed as a gift, a gentle touch on human minds that would slowly lift their consciousness. The signal carried feelings of peace, unity, and hope. It was meant to help humans stop fighting and start working together. "When they receive our message, they will begin to understand," another elder said. "Soon they will be ready to leave their physical forms behind and join us among the stars." Back on Earth, the interpretation was very different. Military leaders from 12 countries gathered in secure video conferences. General Choi Dong-hyun spoke from his underground command center in South Korea. "This transmission penetrated every defense system we have," he said grimly. "It appeared simultaneously on military networks, civilian communications, even inside our most secret facilities. No known technology can do that." Dr. Yoon Hana, a military communications expert, presented her analysis. "The signal targets specific brainwave frequencies. It seems designed to affect human thinking patterns. We believe this is psychological warfare." Captain Jang Minho nodded from his position at the Pentagon. "The aliens sent this signal to weaken our defenses before the main attack. They want to make us passive, unable to fight back when their invasion force arrives." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it terrified them. President Kong Soo-jin called an emergency session with world leaders. Within hours, a secret agreement was signed. Every major nation would contribute resources to humanity's defense. The alien signal would be studied, decoded, and turned into a weapon. "We will not go quietly into the night," the president declared in a classified broadcast to military commanders worldwide. "If someone wants to invade our minds, we will show them the strength of human determination." The Zephyrians continued, monitoring Earth's electromagnetic signals, waiting patiently for humanity's spiritual awakening. They noticed increased activity across human communication networks and felt pleased. Surely this meant the primitive beings were preparing to abandon their violent ways and embrace higher consciousness. As dawn broke over Seoul, Commander Lee Sung-min looked out at the city skyline. Millions of people went about their morning routines, unaware that first contact had been made. They did not know that, somewhere in the depths of space, peaceful beings waited for a response to their gift of enlightenment. They also did not know that humanity was already preparing to answer that gift with the only language it truly understood, the language of war. General Choi Dong-hyun walked through the underground tunnels beneath the military base in Daijin. The concrete walls were thick enough to survive a nuclear attack, but he wondered if they would be enough to stop alien mind control. Representatives from 12 nations had gathered in the deepest conference room, their faces lit by the glow of holographic displays. "The signal reached every corner of our planet in less than 3 seconds, Dr. Yoon Hana explained, pointing at the 3D map floating above the table. "It bypassed our satellites, our fiber optic cables, even our most secure military networks. Whatever sent this message has technology we cannot understand." Captain Jang Minho shifted uncomfortably in his chair. He had spent 20 years defending his country from human enemies. Now, he faced something far more dangerous. Our computer experts tried to block the transmission. Nothing worked. It went through our firewalls, like they did not exist. The alien signal played softly through the room's speakers. To most people, it sounded like gentle music mixed with strange humming sounds. But the military experts heard something else. They heard the sound of invasion. "Look at these brain scan results," said Dr. Lee Min-young, a military psychologist. She displayed images of human brain activity on the wall screen. When people listen to this signal, their stress levels drop dramatically. Their aggressive responses disappear. They become peaceful and cooperative. General Choi leaned forward. "You mean it makes them weak?" "Exactly. This is not a greeting. This is a weapon designed to remove our will to fight. When their invasion ships arrive, we will be too peaceful to resist." Far away in the depths of space, the Zephyrian collective floated in their crystal homes, completely unaware of the fear they had created. Their consciousness existed as patterns of pure light, dancing through structures that looked like frozen starlight. Elder, Luminous thought of Dawn, pulsed with satisfaction as he observed Earth through their advanced sensors. The planet's electromagnetic activity had increased dramatically since their first transmission. Human communication networks buzzed with new energy. "See how they respond," he said to the other elders. "Their primitive radio waves carry such intensity now. They must be sharing our message of peace with their entire species." Another elder, whose name translated roughly to "gentle wind through stars," agreed enthusiastically. "Their energy patterns show rapid change. Soon they will understand that physical conflict is meaningless. They will learn to exist as pure thought, just as we do." The Zephyrians had helped dozens of species make this transition over thousands of years. They always started with a gentle psychic touch, just enough to open minds to new possibilities. Most species took months or years to fully understand, but the process always worked eventually. "Should we send the second transmission?" asked a younger member of the collective. "Perhaps they are ready for more advanced concepts." Luminous thought of Dawn considered this carefully. Through their sensors, they could see massive construction projects beginning around Earth. Humans were building something in space. working with incredible speed and coordination. Yes, he decided. They are clearly preparing great monuments to mark their spiritual awakening. We should guide them to the next level of understanding. Back on Earth, those construction projects had a very different purpose. In shipyards around the world, humanity's greatest minds worked day and night to build weapons of war. The alien signal had been recorded, studied, and reverse-engineered by teams of scientists who had not slept in weeks. Dr. Song Ji-hoon wiped sweat from his forehead as he climbed out of the missile assembly area. The psychic resonance warheads are ready for testing, he reported to his supervisor. If the aliens use energy-based consciousness, these weapons should disrupt their thought patterns. Lieutenant Colonel Nam Yoo-jin monitored progress from the main control room. Screens showed construction sites on 6 continents, all working on the same desperate project. Fleet construction is ahead of schedule. We will have 300 ships ready within 14 months. The world had changed dramatically in just 6 weeks since first contact. Countries that had been enemies for decades now shared their most secret technologies. Scientists from different nations worked side by side, united by a common threat. Engineer Park Hyan-soo tested the new quantum communication systems that would allow the fleet to coordinate attacks across vast distances. The aliens made one mistake, he said to his team. They showed us their technology before attacking. Now we can use it against them. President Kang Soo-jin addressed the Secret Council of World Leaders through encrypted video links. Our response must be overwhelming, she declared. We cannot allow them a second chance to attack our minds. When we reach their space, we will show them that humanity does not surrender. The Zephyrians prepared their second transmission, a more detailed message about the wonderful future awaiting humanity among the stars. They included beautiful images of galactic civilization, mathematical proofs of universal peace, and invitations to join the community of enlightened beings. They sent this message with love and hope, believing they were about to witness another species evolve beyond the need for physical existence. Instead, they had just convinced humanity that the aliens were escalating their psychological attack. Military leaders around the world saw the new transmission as proof that invasion was imminent. The misunderstanding was complete. 2 species, both believing they acted with good intentions, prepared for a conflict that neither truly wanted but both thought was necessary for survival. Dr. Lee Dozum stood in the massive assembly bay of the Busan Naval Shipyard, watching sparks fly as welders attached the final components to humanity's first alien-killing weapon. The psychic resonance cannon stretched 30 meters along the spine of the warship Taekwondo, its crystalline focusing array gleaming under the industrial lights. The theory is simple, she explained to Admiral Park Hyan-woo as they walked beneath the enormous weapon. The aliens communicate using energy, patterns that affect our minds. We have reversed those patterns and amplified them 1,000 times. Instead of making us peaceful, this weapon should tear apart any energy-based consciousness. The Admiral nodded grimly. He had commanded naval vessels for 30 years, but never anything like this. The Taekwondo was 3 times larger than any warship ever built, powered by experimental fusion reactors and armed with weapons that existed only in science fiction just months ago. How many of these ships will be ready? He asked. 300, sir. Each one equipped with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. In the engine compartment below, Engineer Song Ji-hoon calibrated the quantum entanglement communicators that would allow the entire human fleet to act as one mind. The technology was based on the aliens' own transmission methods, turned from a weapon of peace into a tool of war. Every ship will be connected instantaneously across any distance, he reported through his headset. When one captain sees a target, every captain sees it. When one ship fires, they all fire together. The shipyard buzzed with activity 24 hours a day. Workers from dozens of countries labored side by side, speaking different languages, but united by the same desperate purpose. Humanity had 18 months to prepare for war against an enemy they did not understand. Dr. Kim Woo-jin supervised the nuclear weapons facility where humanity's deadliest bombs were being transformed into something even more terrible. Each warhead now contained a psionic amplifier designed to broadcast destructive energy patterns across light years of space. Traditional nuclear weapons destroy matter, he explained to his international team of physicists. These new warheads will destroy consciousness itself. Any alien mind caught in the blast will simply cease to exist. Lieutenant Colonel Nam Yujin watched the progress reports flow across her screens in mission control. Ships under construction in America, Russia, China, India, and Europe, all following the same design, all racing to meet the same impossible deadline. Estimated time to reach alien coordinates: 14 months using the new faster-than-light drive systems. She announced to the assembled commanders, "We will have a 6-month window to complete our mission before our fuel runs out." The new technology amazed even the scientists who created it. Humanity had jumped from chemical rockets to faster-than-light travel in less than 2 years, driven by desperation and the alien signal that served as both threat and blueprint. Captain Ko Min-jun tested the prototype weapon systems aboard the first completed warship. The particle beam cannons could punch through a mountain, while the gravity bombs could crush entire cities into marble-sized spheres. But the most fearsome weapon was the ship itself. Each vessel carries enough destruction to sterilize a planet, he reported to his crew. "We are not going to negotiate with the aliens. We are going to end them." 65 million light-years away, the Zephyrian Collective observed Earth's frantic activity with growing excitement. Their advanced sensors detected massive energy buildups around every planet in the solar system. Clearly, humanity was preparing for something magnificent. Elder Luminous thought of Dawn, pulsed with approval as he studied the readings. Look at these construction projects. They cover their entire solar system. Such dedication to cosmic consciousness. The energy beings interpreted the human weapons as elaborate artistic displays. The nuclear reactors looked like temples to atomic power. The massive ships appeared to be ceremonial vessels, designed for spiritual journeys between stars. "They work with such passion," observed another elder. "See how they coordinate their efforts across their entire species. This is exactly what we hoped to inspire." The Zephyrians had watched dozens of species evolve beyond physical existence. The process always began the same way: massive construction projects as the species prepared to abandon their material world and embrace pure consciousness. "Should we send another message?" asked a younger member of the collective. "Perhaps we can help guide their transformation." Luminous Sodaban considered this carefully. "Not yet. They are clearly in the early stages of transcendence. We must be patient and allow them to discover cosmic truth at their own pace." Back on Earth, humanity's war machine reached full production. Factories that once built cars now assembled plasma cannons. Computer companies designed artificial intelligence systems dedicated solely to finding better ways to kill aliens. Universities focused their research on weapons technology. Dr. Shin Era completed the final tests on the fleet's targeting systems. "The aliens' own communication frequency will guide our weapons directly to their source," she announced triumphantly. "They gave us the key to their own destruction." The first completed warship launched from Earth orbit 3 months ahead of schedule, followed by another, then another. Soon, the night skies sparkled with the lights of humanity's growing armada. Children around the world pointed up at the moving stars, not knowing they were watching the most destructive force their species had ever created. The arsenal that would carry humanity's response into the depths of space, turning a message of peace into an instrument of annihilation, the aliens had whispered. Now humanity prepared to roar back with the voice of thunder. Captain Ko Min-jun stood on the bridge of the flagship Souls. Fury, as 300 human warships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of alien territory. The view through the main screen took his breath away. Instead of empty space, he saw a region filled with dancing lights and crystalline structures that sparkled like diamonds against the darkness, detecting massive energy signatures across the entire sector, reported Commander Shin Era from her position at the sensor station. Sir, the readings are off the charts. The whole area is saturated with the same frequencies as the original transmission. The human fleet spread into attack formation, each ship bristling with weapons designed to destroy alien consciousness. Captain Ko had trained for this moment for 18 months, but seeing the enemy's territory with his own eyes made his hands shake slightly. Lieutenant Bei Sungho monitored communications from his station. All ships report ready status, Captain. Psychic resonance cannons are charged and locked onto target coordinates. Far ahead of them, the Zephyrian collective sensed the approaching fleet and felt overwhelming joy. Elder Luminous thought of Dawn, gathered the other energy beings around him in their crystalline home, which glowed like a miniature star. They have come to us. He pulsed with happiness. After all these months of preparation, the humans have finally transcended physical limitations and traveled between the stars. The Zephyrians had been waiting eagerly for this moment through their advanced sensors. They had watched humanity build magnificent ships and coordinate their entire species for what could only be a grand spiritual journey. Look how beautifully their vessels move together, observed another elder. They have learned the harmony we tried to teach them. Soon they will shed their physical forms and join us as beings of pure consciousness. The energy beings immediately began broadcasting welcome messages. Geometric patterns of light danced through space, carrying mathematical equations that proved their peaceful intentions. They projected artistic representations of galactic unity, showing humans and Zephyrians working together to spread enlightenment across the universe. On the bridge of Soul's Fury, alarms began screaming as the alien transmissions flooded their communication systems. The beautiful light patterns appeared on every screen, accompanied by complex mathematical formulas that seemed to bypass their computer security. They're attacking. Lieutenant Bei shouted as his console sparked and flickered. Massive psychic assault across all frequencies. They're trying to get inside our heads. Captain Ko watched his crew struggle against the alien transmissions. Several officers clutched their heads as the peaceful images filled their minds, making them feel calm and cooperative. This was exactly what military intelligence had warned them about. All ships, this is Soul's Fury. Ko spoke into his communication system. The aliens are using psychological warfare. Do not look directly at their transmissions. Execute Operation Thunderstrike immediately. Sir, should we try to communicate first? Asked Commander Shin Era, her voice strangely peaceful after exposure to the alien signals. Negative, Ko replied firmly. They made their intentions clear when they attacked Earth. All ships, open fire. Maximum dispersal pattern. 300 human warships unleashed destruction beyond imagination. Psychic resonance cannons fired beams of reversed alien energy that tore through Zephyrian consciousness like bullets through paper. Nuclear warheads, equipped with psionic amplifiers, detonated in brilliant flashes that scattered energy beings across light years of space. The Zephyrians could not understand what was happening. They were beings who had never known violence, creatures of pure thought who resolved all conflicts through peaceful discussion. The concept of deliberate destruction was completely foreign to them. Elder Luminous thought of Dawn felt his consciousness begin to fragment as human weapons tore through his crystalline home. He tried desperately to communicate, projecting images of cooperation and friendship even as his essence scattered into the void. Why do they attack us? He broadcast on all frequencies. We came in peace. We offered them enlightenment. But the humans interpreted every Zephyrian transmission as a weapon. When the aliens projected images of unity, human commanders saw propaganda designed to weaken their resolve. When the energy beings tried to show them mathematical proofs of peaceful intent, Military analysts identified attack algorithms. Particle beam weapons carved through the delicate crystal structures that housed Zephyrian civilization. Gravity. Bombs compressed entire communities of energy beings into tiny points of light that flickered once and disappeared forever. The battle lasted only 6 hours. The Zephyrians, despite their advanced technology, had no weapons because they had never needed any. Their attempts to defend themselves by projecting protective energy fields only convinced the humans that they were powering up for counterattack. Captain Ko watched the destruction through his view screen with grim satisfaction. All enemy structures destroyed, reported Lieutenant Bay. No signs of remaining hostile activity. In the final moments, Elder Luminous thought of Dawn managed to send one last transmission before his consciousness dissolved completely. It was a simple question, broadcast on every frequency that reached across the galaxy. Why? The question echoed through space long after the battle ended, carrying the confusion and sadness of a peaceful species that had died trying to help their killers. Commander. Shinera looked up from her sensor readings with tears in her eyes, though she did not understand why she was crying. Sir, all alien energy signatures have ceased. The sector is ... quiet. Captain Ko nodded and turned away from the view screen. Humanity had won its first interstellar war, not knowing they had just destroyed the only species in the galaxy that truly wanted to be their friend. Dr. Kim Woo-jin floated in the zero-gravity laboratory aboard the research vessel Inshin Pride, studying fragments that glowed with fading alien energy. 6 months had passed since the battle, and human scientists were still trying to understand what they had destroyed in those 6 terrible hours. The molecular structure is unlike anything we have ever seen, he reported to Colonel Han So-young through the secure video link. These fragments contain organized patterns of pure energy, no physical matter at all. The aliens were not creatures with bodies like us. They were living thoughts. The colonel's face remained stone-hard on the view screen. Her uniform was covered with medals from the Zephyrian War, as historians had already named it. Does this change anything, Doctor? They attacked our minds first, but Colonel, what if they were not attacking? What if they were trying to help us? Kim held up a glowing crystal fragment. These energy patterns contain mathematical formulas for clean energy, faster than light communication, and cures for diseases. Why would an enemy give us such gifts? Speculation is dangerous, Doctor. They initiated psychological warfare against Earth. We responded with appropriate force. End of discussion. Kim ended the call and returned to his research, but Doubt gnawed at him like a hungry animal. The more he studied the alien remains, the more peaceful they seemed. Every fragment contained knowledge that could benefit humanity, not harm it. Back on Earth, victory parades marched through major cities. Admiral Lim Jae-sung received the newly created Medal of Galactic Defense from President Kang Soo-jin in a ceremony broadcast to the entire world. Children waved flags showing Earth surrounded by protective warships. Today, humanity stands united and victorious. The president declared 2 cheering crowds. We have proven that no force in the universe can break the human spirit. We reached for the stars and claimed them as our own. But not everyone celebrated. Communication officer Omi Nisio sat alone in her monitoring station on Jeju Island, listening to the silence that had fallen across the galaxy. 4 months after the battle, deep space had grown strangely quiet. We are receiving significantly fewer radio signals from other star systems, she reported in her weekly briefing to military intelligence. It is as if someone turned off a switch across the entire galaxy. What humanity did not know was that dozens of alien civilizations had been monitoring the destruction of the Zephyrian collective through their own deep space networks. The peaceful energy beings had been known throughout the galaxy as teachers and guides, helping younger species evolve and grow. The crystalline empire of Vega had received Zephyrian wisdom thousands of years ago. The silicon-based creatures of The Tau Ceti system owed their technological advancement to Zephyrian guidance. Even the ancient machine consciousness of Proxima Centauri remembered the gentle beings who had taught them the difference between mere existence and true life. Now they watched in horror as the humans turned the Zephyrians' own gift of knowledge into weapons of total destruction. Emergency councils convened across the galaxy. A new rule spread from system to system: avoid the Sol system at all costs. The humans had sent radio signals into space for over a century, broadcasting their music, their dreams, their hopes for contact with other intelligent life. Now those same signals carried a darker message. Other civilizations detected the electromagnetic signatures of the human war fleet. The energy patterns of their terrible weapons. Earth became marked on galactic star charts with warning symbols. Hostile species. Read the notes in a dozen different languages. Responds to peaceful contact with overwhelming violence. Maintain quarantine distance. Dr. Lee Minyoung worked late in her psychology laboratory, analyzing the mental health reports from the returning fleet crews. Many soldiers suffered from nightmares and guilt, though they could not explain why. Some reported dreams of beautiful lights begging for mercy. The psychological impact on our forces is concerning, she wrote in her classified report. Despite our clear victory, many personnel show signs of deep emotional trauma. Perhaps the alien psychic attacks were more effective than we initially believed. She did not consider that her soldiers might be suffering from guilt because they had committed genocide against a peaceful species. Lieutenant Park Ji-hai, now promoted to captain, supervised the construction of new monitoring stations around Earth's solar system. Humanity expected revenge attacks from other alien species, so they built the most advanced defense network in their history. No unauthorized signals will reach Earth again, she promised her superiors. We have sensors positioned throughout the solar system. Any alien transmission will be detected and neutralized before it can affect human minds. The irony was complete. Humanity had spent decades hoping for contact with alien intelligence. Now they worked desperately to prevent it, having convinced themselves that any alien contact meant invasion. Years passed. Earth's radio signals continued leaking into space, carrying human music and television shows to distant stars. But now they also carried the story of the Zephyrian War, a warning that traveled at light speed across the galaxy. Other civilizations listened to human broadcasts and learned about their nature. They heard songs about love and peace, but they also detected the electromagnetic signatures of weapons designed to destroy consciousness itself. The galaxy had learned to fear the small blue world that turned a gift of enlightenment into an excuse for war. Ancient species that had traveled between stars for millions of years now avoided Earth's region of space entirely. Humanity continued reaching toward the stars, proud of their victory and confident in their strength. They did not know that they had made themselves the most feared species in the galaxy, not because they were the strongest, but because they were the only ones who shot first and never asked questions. The universe had whispered to them with love, and they had answered with thunder that still echoed across the cosmos, teaching every listening civilization that some species could not be saved from themselves.